Hey everybody, it's Crystal with Two West End Girls. Unfortunately, I'm unable to be with Amy this week, but due to scheduling conflict with us and me having to work and travel and do some other things. But this week she's doing a segment on how to marbleize paper, and I'm curious as to how you marbleize paper as well too. So stay tuned with Amy, and she'll get right back with you on how to make that happen. All right, thanks for watching. Stay tuned in with us. We appreciate it. Thanks.
Hey, Amy here with Two West End Girls. Today we're going to be making some Lumarias. I'm going to be showing you a fairly simple and easy technique to make marbleized papers, like you see here. I have a nice texture to them. This is based on ancient marbleizing from the Asian areas of China and Japan, and we're going to be doing a modern quick spin on that. Also, we're going to be using our frame from last week's Christmas cards that we used to make prints with our little silk screen print, and we're going to be putting that forward to work on creating a little quick Lumaria. So I've got a little panel inside, a quick little light up Lumaria for a nice kitchen table or a mantle or any place you want additional light. These can be used throughout the year too with different screen prints that you make and create. And also with the marbleizing, you can make one for any time of year. So we're going to be working on those today. Stay with us, Two West End Girls. Today we're going to start by making some marbleized paper like you see here. See the nice swirls and combing patterns on this? This is not traditional marbleizing, but it's kind of a spin on traditional marbleizing. Traditional marbleizing would have had the use of alum. You can buy alum from the spices section, and you'd use alum to pre-treat your papers, and you could do any kind of porous papers are great for absorbing dyes, but the alum helps control how much dye goes into the paper. You'd mix alum with water, and then you'd run the paper through that, or you can spray it. And that helps to pre-treat the paper so it accepts color really well. In the case today, though, we're going to be using printer paper. So I've got photo printer paper. This is like Kodak or any other brand of photo paper that you've got, but that paper is made to accept ink, so I didn't pre-treat this with alum. And it's pretty nice for accepting the color right into the paper as is, which cuts a step out for what we're going to be doing today. And the paper has a nice sheen to it once the acrylic is on it, so it makes a great paper for the project we're going to do today. For today, you're going to need a bath, and I'm going to use, you can use prefab cornstarch like the Stay Flow brand or any other liquid cornstarches you find in the detergent section in a store. We're going to have a water bath to wash our papers off when we're finished. And of course, you're going to need some little pipettes or droppers. You can buy droppers. I know that they sell them probably, you can check in the pharmacy section of a store. Or if you have any old ones laying around from old little dropper bottles that are cleaned out, they're safe. And also, I've taken acrylic paint and I've added water to it. I have some of my paints that are metallic and some that are just regular opaque paints. But you want to get them watered down into a nice consistency where they're watery like, so that they will float on the thicker cornstarch bath. That's the whole principle behind marbleizing, is you have a gelatinous or a heavier bath that you soak lighter weight or very fluid inks, whether they be oil-based or acrylic-based or otherwise, to float the inks on. And this is what helps them to stay on the surface. You draw design into them, and then you've created your marbleized paper. Here, I've got my paints ready. They're already in cups. I've kind of put in these cups because they're easier to swirl around and kind of mix up just by swishing the cup around. You want to be careful, and if you're using acrylics, remember it can stain. So if you've got an old apron or smock to put on and you want to put newsprint or wax paper down, that's probably a good idea, just to keep from getting it everywhere. But also, another note that you have too is you can take a paper towel and gently pull them to the side of the pan. Ideally, you don't want air bubbles in your solution that you have there or your bath, because it will leave a white mark or a bubble mark where those are at in your mixture. But anyway, I'm going to try this again. Let's see if these float a little bit better with a watered down mixture, and we'll keep doing it until we get it right. But ideally speaking, you don't want a thick gel bath that's more like a jello. You want something a little bit thinner. And there we go. And you want your colors to disperse. They're still veining a little bit, but it's still better than what we had. So I might still add a little bit more water to this starch mixture, cold water, and whisk it really well to get a nice solution. and then go from there. Also, I have cut down my sheets of paper, and instead of the 8.5 by 11 size, I cut them down to thinner strips because that will be more like the size we're going to use for the Lumaria, and it also fits in this smaller plastic pan better. So it's easier in both the beginning and the end of the process to have the sheets smaller for what you're doing. Also remember to kind of whisk or stir your paints up too, so they're in suspension too, so you get a nice concentration of color. We're going to try this again. And the last one, like I said, it wasn't bad, but ideally speaking, you want color that's going to flow out and radiate out in circles. This one's still veiny. It looks like little snowflakes. May keep this one as well. So there's yellow or gold. And like I said, I have metallics in here too, so once they're dried, it does leave a sheen on the paper as well too, which is really nice. Makes for a nice finished piece when you're done. Trying to keep all my droppers clean. It's a little bit of a challenge at times too, but like I said, if you'll use wax paper or put down some old newsprint or newspaper too, especially if you don't want the surfaces to get dirty, or if you can find like a little countertop space you don't mind working on, or an old board. Let's put some of this in here. Still looks like Mardi Gras colors again. I keep coming back to my yellow, purple, and green. I guess let's go to, we'll put some of this pinkish red back in there as well too. So let's add some of it. One of the disadvantages of not having the right concentration of cornstarch is it doesn't flow out and fill the whole surface with color. So when you actually do Marbelized, it leaves white areas on the paper instead of giving you a nice, full, bright print that bleeds out all over the surface of the paper. So ideally, the right cornstarch blend. If you're in doubt about getting the right blend of your own cornstarch mix at home, just buy the liquid. Or like I said, if you want to buy the Carignan bath, they sell Marbelizing kits that you can buy that have liquid colors in them and little bags of the algae mix. It's called like carrageenan or Carignan. Proper pronunciation always escapes me, even though I've used that several times as a gel bath at school when I taught. But it's pretty much a no-fail as long as you follow the instructions method of the right concentration of water to the mixture, the powder. And you usually let it sit overnight and to help it to blend better and to get all air bubbles out as well too, so you don't have to worry about having little pockets of air in there, and to make sure the gel is nice and consistent. Now I've got several colors on there. This paper that I'm going to put in there is probably not going to cover the whole surface, so I will have some white in the background, but I'm going to go ahead and use my fork and pull, and we're going to try to do some Marbelizing with this. But in terms of being able to do this from home, yes, you can do this from home with materials around your house. So I dropped my paper into the bath that you see here. I've already used it, and here's the piece of paper that I have completed. Like I said, you still have the white areas in the background, but still a fairly successful print from our cornstarch bath and Marbelizing. Alright, so I pretty much have my colors in place where I want them. Next I'm going to use a fork and I'm going to comb through. You can also use a toothpick too to swirl through your designs as well. But I'm going to comb through and pull my colors around and gently swirl them on the surface to get a nice marbleized effect. And I'm using a thin sheet of paper too because the size of my tub, it's hard to get an 8.5 by 11 to fit in there. But I'm going to comb through, comb through, comb through, comb through, and come back and back. Make some nice designs. And then I'm going to quickly get my sheet of paper. I have to rush, and I'm going to lay it down, and I wait for it to kind of curl up out of the bath to know that it's done. So it pulls that color into it, and you see how it's rolling up, and then I'll gently lift up, and there's my design. You can see it's Marbelized. Now there's a lot of cornstarch and color sitting on there, so I need to rinse carefully, and then I'll come back and we'll have a sheet of Marbelized paper. So here's my piece of paper that I just made using photo paper. And I did this without alum in this case. Like I said, the colors, you have to be careful when you rinse not to rinse them away. But if done very gently with a nice little spray nozzle and done quickly, just let it dry. Sometimes you could even get a blow dryer and put it on low heat to help it dry quickly. And watch for the starch running back off the edges too. It can kind of make your colors bleed. But if you use a nice clean bath, and you see mine's already got some color that's stuck in it. But if you use a clean bath of cornstarch, you can get some nice clean pools of marbleized papers from those.